All right, y'all. So we are about to get into this reaction to the Warriors Lakers highlights. We're gonna let you guys know what we think about the game. We got my guy Dribble the Swordsman, aka Origami Hoops and Sports, and then we got my guy Next Up to Greatness, aka Trey. So we're gonna let you guys know what we think about the game. So let's get back into the highlights.
Think you
So
probably got you got to mute.
oh shoot, what?
Right down.
I
Right here.
mean, I don't really like the game in the background, honestly, because I don't like the way they call. First of all, Jeff Van Gundy, bro, they need to get that man off the cast. So going into this game, what I wanted was for Draymond to be way more aggressive, and I think he did that relatively well. But I think the person that none of us was expecting was JaMychal Green. Was anybody expecting JaMychal Green to have a game like this? I think we'll see more from him a little bit later. But it was interesting to see Steve decide to start JaMychal instead of Looney. But they did say that Looney was feeling a little sick. So I thought that was interesting. We got a start from JaMychal Green for the first time since way back. So we got a shot from Steph. So what were you guys thinking at this point of the game?
At this point, I was just like, we're looking at a back and forth from here on. I was like, we're looking at, at this point in time, we're not getting as much AD. But Braun says he's like AD can take a back door, and he felt like he can lead them all the way. So I was just like, now you're doing what you need to do with AD. You're limiting AD to less shots and less attempts. But now Braun is getting open, and he's was knocking down threes for the most part in that first quarter. So it was getting crazy.
Yeah, I did notice that. And we got a Moses Moody appearance earlier in the game. He had a probably a playoff high, at least for this year, 26 minutes in this game. And I really felt like as the game went on, we started to see a little bit more impact from him. But I think the most glaring issue for the Warriors was obviously going to be how are we going to defend AD. So how do you guys feel like Draymond did? From what I saw, it looked like he did a pretty good job on him. And honestly, I was a little concerned. I said this in the first video. I was a little concerned that he wouldn't be able to contain AD because I've seen AD start to own Draymond a little more recently. But at the same time, I also know historically Draymond usually dominates that matchup with AD, and I think we saw a little bit of that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Draymond be a little bit more physical without getting too handsy, and it's a very thin line on how to do that without getting foul calls. But for him to be able to still apply that pressure on AD to make him take tough shots or make him to pass out to Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, who are both weren't on tonight. I mean, that's always a win. Uh, I even said when I was watching this, I was like, I can live with LeBron taking threes because LeBron is not going to knock down threes all the time. LeBron is not a 3-point shooter. He's more of he slashes, he goes coast to coast, and he's more of a driver. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. He's one of the best slashing forwards in the game. So I mean, if I'm Steve, especially with the shot clock winding down, I'm okay with Braun taking a three. I can live with the results.
Yeah, I agree. Give me a second.
I mean,
But
me and Drib were talking about it all throughout the game. We were just like, yo, like
how
you
many
can
threes
live
did
with
he
Braun
take?
taking three.
He
Yeah,
took eight threes tonight.
he took 8, and that's not a lot for. I mean, that's quite a bit for Braun. That's probably about his average, maybe
Out
a
of
little bit
18
above.
field goals too. So
Well,
almost what 40% of his shots were threes. So I feel like in this game you could really see kind of his age show a little bit. Honestly, you know we've been talking about LeBron aging for a good minute, but I think this series you're starting to see because AD wasn't on and you saw they had to lean on LeBron a little more, but he kept almost getting baited into shooting, which is something I mentioned going into the series. If we could turn LeBron into a shooter, I think that's a win because overall, I think law of averages are going to play out and him not being aggressive to the rim is good for us. We all know LeBron is known for that driving kick, and when he's shooting, he's not using that threat against the Warriors. And it's like after the first game, the question was, is Anthony Davis going to be able to replicate that 30 points, 23 rebounds? I didn't think so. Not because he's not capable, but because that's such a huge load for him to carry, considering like how much of a role he has to play defensively. I feel like that can be hard to anchor the defense and put up 30 and 20 every night. Because if it took that type of performance to win by 5, how are you going to make sure you can get some stability throughout the rest of the series? Now, one other
It's
thing that I noticed, in this play right here, I feel like this is the vibe we were getting from the whole night from Steph. Some people say Steph needs to have a dominant performance, but when you know how the Lakers are going to defend, they're going to trap him, right? They're not going to let him, you know, take over the game, at least from shooting wise or, getting to the rim. And I feel like he used the threat of his shot very well to get shots like this, get an assist like that to Clay. Now I was told, hold on, let me go to the big screen. I was told that you know, Steph Curry wasn't a point guard, he couldn't have 10 assists, but this was a very, dare I say, traditional point guard like performance from Steph. 12 assists. 12 assists. He had 3 turnovers, but he still had 12 assists. Still a really good
yeah,
assist to turnover ratio. And I think he balanced being aggressive and looking out for his teammates very well, which we see a lot of stars struggle with.
when you start the series out, people have been talking about what is Steph. We've already come into it. Steph, after winning that Finals MVP, they said he's got to be one of the greatest of all time. So when you're playing a team like the Lakers, people are going to bring up, is Steph better than Magic Johnson? A lot of people said no because Magic has that capability that he was a better ball distributor. This right here nails everything else, puts that all in the butt. Because not only that, Steph played about 20 minutes. He didn't play a lot. He didn't play what we're used to seeing him shoot. Steph was more of a distributor before he was ever anything else. When we entered off at halftime, I believe Steph was at 8 and 8. He was at 8 points, 8 assists. So it wasn't like, oh, Steph was just, he was just shooting all. Then he started distributing the ball at the end. It was a balanced attack of shooting and passing. When you got the Lakers who were trying to put Jared Vanderbilt, who he had his number for a little bit in game 1. But to have him say, okay, you're going to put Jared Vanderbilt on me, I'm just going to kill you whenever you try and hit me with the ball. So when you see somebody like that, or you see Wayne and Gabriel, Roy Hachimura, and Jared Vanderbilt all try and crash into you, you're able to find open people for better looks. And luckily today, it was the Splash Brother Clay. So
Oh, and on this note right here, Clay Thompson. Let me go back. Let me go back because I'm gonna have to cut that out. Okay. On this note here, I would be remiss if I didn't speak about Killer Clay, carrying the team with 30 points tonight. I mean, all the shots he hit, we know he can hit shots, right? But my frustration with him in the last series was the quality of shots. This type of shot right here, this is the shot I want to see Clay take. It's in rhythm. He's not rushing. He's not forcing it. This is Clay right here. Not when he's trying to handle the ball and commit a turnover because he's trying to be Clay Bryant. Take your difficult shots. I'm not going to be able to tell Clay, oh, this is a bad shot. But I can say you can take a better shot. And I feel like tonight he was taking makeable shots in rhythm within the offense, which is all I wanted from him. I definitely think he owed the team a game like that after the way he was performing in the last series. And I know he's going to show out for his family. So, one other thing, we definitely look at this. Hold on, I know he wasn't asked for a foul call right here. What was it? Oh, he was celebrating. I was about to
I mean,
say,
when D'Lo is going through what he's been going through this series already, with him not being as well of a shooter, especially not tonight,
dang,
he's going to celebrate those types of things.
hold,
Now, me and Dribble were talking about how the impact of this high pick and roll. And what did you say, Dribble? What did you say again? You said something about that high pick and roll we were talking about. It was a really good, and you had a really good reference about it.
Mm,
You
you
don't
got to
remember?
refresh my memory, man. I don't know.
I mean, it's just like I
I don't
think
know.
it's just one of those nights, man. It's one of those nights where you have to really rethink about it because there's so many things that you have on your mind. Like that high pick and roll when you have Steph or
Oop.
Clay, like you have Steph or Clay being able to go off the dribble and you're able to get a screen from top of the key or such, you're really able to open up what's around you. And what the Lakers have yet to figure out is how to guard the high pick and roll well against Golden State. Because if you take the underneath, they're willing to kill you with the two. And if you're willing to go over, I mean, if you're willing to go underneath the screen, Steph is going to kill you from three. Steph and Clay is going to kill you from three. And if you try to take the over, Draymond is the he can run to the rim very well, especially with Looney and people of that nature. So
I agree. And when Clay is in rhythm like this, you know, it's hard to stop him. Once again, Jermichael Green legacy game. Can I just say that? Did anyone think this man was gonna come in and score 13, 15 points in 13 minutes? And I
Hey,
how
think
look,
he hit
no,
like two or three threes.
look,
how is it
nobody thought that. I'm pretty sure, and I think that's maybe
Three
that's what Steve
threes.
Kerr's plan was, low key. You know what I'm saying? Maybe maybe he took a play out of the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the NFL, some of those teams they'll save plays. They'll keep them secret until the playoffs. They don't ever run them because they don't want the
good?
scouts to see them. So maybe he was like, you know what? I'm not gonna play Jermichael the whole season, pretty much. I'll break them loose in the playoffs and let them go crazy. Maybe that is what his plan was the whole time. Big brain, Kerr?
Interesting.
I
It's
don't know.
very
What y'all think?
I mean, I think so as well because it's just like when you first looked at it, you're like, Jermichael's at the five. Oh, hell no. Because Katie's about to just dominate. I mean, AD's about to just dominate inside again. And I had a little question mark on my face. But then when I started to see Draymond actually took accountability of saying, I got AD. I'm going to step up and I'm going to play physical with him and he is going to start getting frustrated. And what happens? Those frustrations turn into fouls. Within the first Steph got three early. That was crazy. But to see AD soon catch up with Steph in fouls to where now you have to try and adjust, and I don't think AD played as many minutes, you're sitting over here like, well, shit, like I'm down. Like AD is your best scorer right now. I've been saying that. I don't know why Laker fans think that I'm being mean or something when I say that this is technically AD's team now. It's just because of the fact of the matter is that Braun. We have seen Braun take a back seat. Mind you, they can still put up good numbers, but Braun is taking a little bit more of a back seat. When you see AD flourish, the Lakers are more likely to win. When you're not able to see AD, like we saw tonight, Braun scored 20 something points. He scored most of that in the first half. And I think he scored 19 in the first half. The fact that you're there, Braun scores 19, Clay scores 17, and you're up 10 at half, that right there just speaks volumes.
And at the end of the day, like LeBron, LeBron carrying the load at this point is not good. It's not ideal. So at the end of the day, Anthony Davis cannot have 11 points in a game. It's really that simple for the Lakers. Like
And,
he just can't.
and we even
Absolutely
talked about
not.
it before we
Not
started.
if they want to win.
Drip, do you remember how many points AD had in the first half?
Wasn't it
I
like
don't remember.
four?
It was like four, was it not? Yeah.
It
That
was
is
like four,
big.
right?
In a whole half, where we usually see AD have at least like first game, I believe AD already had a double double after the first half.
Mm,
You're coming into the third quarter with Anthony Davis with only 4 points, with
yeah,
With Looney
substantial.
barely on the floor because of his sickness.
Oh, and mind you, let me give Looney a little credit right here because Looney was sick, but yet in his 12 minutes on the court, he still had 8 rebounds, 3 offensive and 5 defensive, and Anthony Davis had 7 rebounds. So even with Looney playing limited minutes, he got out rebounded by Looney, even with Looney only playing 12 minutes. And that's not
Yeah,
even looking at how many rebounds Draymond had, which he had 11. So that's not. See, look, the problem with Anthony
Hold on.
Davis having to rebound 23 times, for one, that's going to wear on him, because that means he's having to carry the load with that, and there's not other guys picking up the slack. So if you're the Lakers, who's going to be the other guys that help rebound, right? So we're looking at Rui Hachimura, 5 rebounds. We're looking at Jared Vanderbilt, 6. Austin, that his name is Austin, right? Austin Reeves.
Yeah,
Austin Reeves, 4 rebounds. Dennis Schroeder, 3. Tristan Thompson, 4, but he was in garbage time. So
Dante DiVincenzo had a few of them.
yeah, he had 4. So the Warriors, now this can be deceiving, right? Because there was a lot of garbage time rebounds and stuff. So when the game was still within reach, whatever you want to say, that is, the Warriors were still out rebounding the Lakers by 10, at least.
I want to point out. Mm-hmm. I wanted to point out Moses Moody had 7 rebounds. I don't know how many of those came in garbage time, but he had 7 pivotal rebounds. I believe he probably had 3 or 4 of them. I think he probably either had 2 or 3, to be honest, in the third quarter, because they sat him down, and it was such a blowout. You can pull out GP2, Dante DiVincenzo, Jonathan Kuminga, Anthony Lamb, a guy who we had barely saw. He was on a 2-way contract and everything. He was able to get some playing time. Look at that.
Now,
like, Looney's over there just chilling.
One thing to note, like off of this right here, hold on, this play right here, Anthony Davis taking a mid-range. This is one of the things that I said after game 1. Ideally, we can turn Anthony Davis into a shooter, because we don't, aside from Draymond, Looney, we don't really have anyone to like really stop him, right? But the problem is with how much he's carrying defensively, you can only imagine it has to wear on him. Like, it's great to see the performance, but between him having to carry the load defensively and rebound as much as he has to for them to win, I don't think that's sustainable. And then you want him to lead the team offensively. This is a guy that is injury prone. I'm not saying he's going to get injured. I'm just saying, like, him being injury prone clearly says something about how his body holds up with the high load. So if you're thinking about a 7-game possible series, you don't really want Anthony Davis to have to carry to that extent. So who are going to be those other guys? We saw Rui Hachimura, pull up with, how many points did he have? I think it was like 21 points, 5 rebounds, 1 steal. Austin Reeves had 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. But they're going to need a little bit something more so that they're able to have balanced scoring with Anthony Davis and LeBron, because I think we could expect about 20 to 25 from LeBron, right? I think you should be expecting about 25 from AD. So
I say probably about 25 to 28.
Yeah, 25 to 28. But who are going to be those other guys? Yeah, he has to play exactly how he did the first game.
I would say he needs to get 30 plus, like 30 or more each game if they really want to have a shot against the Warriors.
I mean,
and it's the thing about Anthony Davis. It could be a psychological thing. It could also be a physical thing. And I'll kind of go into that because the physical part. So you talked about, minutes. All these players have energy, right? And it's gonna run out. Nobody has infinite energy. And let me tell you, you know what I'm saying? Some of the hoopers out there, y'all might know what I'm talking about. But even not, if you're not a hooper, you still might know because you can see it on the court play out. So sometimes when players get tired, they don't really want to exert that much energy. They're trying to conserve a little bit. And how do they do that? They start shooting jumpers. Why is that? Because it takes less energy to just stand there and shoot than it does to run and lay the ball up. You got to explode up. You got to lay it up.
And you got to deal with the physical contact too. You got to deal with the contact, which wears on your body too. Which is what we've been people have been talking about this for years with like Anthony Davis playing the 5. He doesn't want to be, like, his natural state is not to be physical and be in the paint. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. Not like that he doesn't want to be physical. He can want to do it all he wants. But if it wears on his body, you can only do so much,
Right.
And I just feel like their supporting cast, I don't see them being consistent enough throughout the series to be able to take the load. I feel like what we're gonna get from the role players is like real spotty. Like we might have D'Angelo Russell cooking, we might have Austin Reeves cooking, but I have a hard time seeing all of them putting it together collectively in order for them to win 4 games in this series.
I
You know what I'm
think
saying?
yeah, I think honestly, another thing that came into the fluish is that you saw guys start getting frustrated. I based on a little bit of it earlier, but you saw guys start getting frustrated. Braun had he had back to back foul calls. People are gonna say that they were weak, uh, and including the one where Moses Moody was shooting from the corner. He had a fade. He was like fading to the right. Braun hits him on the arm, elbow, something like that. There is contact, and Braun is getting upset, and he's even doing he's using his
Pleaded his case.
he's like he's sitting over here like trying to calm himself because he was afraid he was gonna get a technical, and I was just like, you're already sitting over here contemplating. They ended up they tried to call a coach's challenge, and it didn't work. And then what happens? What happens right after it? The Lakers assistant coach, I don't remember his name. He ended up getting a technical. So that means now you're putting Steph at the line. Plus, you're getting Steph at the line for one, plus another three from Moses Moody. So it's just like there was multiple times where the Lakers had just gotten technical. There have been
Hmm.
multiple times where there was the assistant coach. Brown was getting close to getting one. Anthony Davis was getting close to getting one. When
And
you
you know
got
what
Jimmy,
else? You know what else I think it is? I think it's the fact that they weren't getting those foul calls like they were getting in the first game. I That frustrated them a lot. Like you could see like they were not happy about not getting some of those calls. Like they were, honestly, let's be real, they were flopping a lot the first game. Objectively, there's a lot of plays where guys just flailed, tripped over themselves, and someone touched them and they fall out. And that's the thing when you have these teams that are used to getting high free throws that play against the Warriors. We've seen it with the Rockets. We've seen it this year with the Lakers. We saw it with the Kings. When they get those high free throws and the refs stop calling the soft fouls, a lot of times they have a problem adjusting and they get frustrated with the refs, which is funny because I'm like, hey, you biting the hand that feeds you, okay? You know, they just gave you 29 free throws the last game to the Warriors getting 6.
yeah,
Y'all forgetting that? Like, look, if it was me, I'm not saying nothing because I know my time is gonna come back around. I don't want the refs against me because I got an attitude with them or whatever. But what I
right,
will say is I do think they're gonna get a better whistle at home. I'm not expecting them to I'm probably, I could see 25 to 30, maybe 35 or 40 free throws for the Lakers. So the Warriors are gonna have to be prepared. I'm for real. I wish I was exaggerating, but they had 29 free throws at the Warriors home court. So I can only imagine what it's gonna be like, when they're at home. But
yeah. Cryptocurrency is not going to be easy. For the Golden State to win this game,
you
they're
said
gonna have to
cryptocurrency.
cryptocurrency arena, whatever they call crypto.
Cryptocurrency.
They're not staples anymore. They're crypto. So it's just
RP Staples Center.
Okay, hold
is
hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay. Let's do our that's like kind of the breakdown part of it. But I wanna kinda get like to our point so that y'all can say what you guys think about the game, and then like maybe what you
Hey,
think the
what's up, man? How you
Lakers
doing?
what you think the Lakers can do in the next
Right.
game. So maybe like if y'all got your key
it,
takeaways from this game, and then what you think the Warriors can replicate and what you think maybe the Lakers can do, so that we can try to give a balanced
right.
perspective on it.
I guess I'll start. Hey, what I saw from the Warriors is I saw again 3-point shooting was at all time